Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the Truth Bomb. And today's Truth Bomb comes compliments of something called 75 Hard. Now, some of you know what that is because I've been posting about it. Some of you don't, and that's okay. I'm going to explain a little bit of it kind of towards the end of this video. But today's Truth Bomb, because that's where we got to start, is that easy is hard and hard is easy. Now, what I'm going to tell you is it lays itself out in our daily choices, and it lays itself out in our differentiation between long-term and short-term. What do I mean? I'm going to use fitness as an example. I'm going to use a couple other examples, but I'm going to start with fitness because it's the easiest one to explain. It's what I deal with day in and day out, right? It is very easy to decide to crack open that soda and drink it, because soda, let's face facts, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, Mountain Dew, whatever your choice is, it's delicious. They're good. And when they're cold and it's hot outside, they feel very refreshing. Okay? It's very easy to crack open a soda. It's very easy to go out with friends and have an extra drink, probably one more than you should. It's very easy to grab that donut out of the box in the break room. It's very easy to have an extra piece of cake at your friend's birthday party. It's very easy to come home from work and get distracted by the little things around the house and then look at the clock and go, nah, I don't think I really want to go to the gym, and then sit down on the couch. It's all of that stuff is easier than saying no to the soda and grabbing water instead. Saying no to that extra drink when you're out with your friends. Saying no to the cake or the donut or the cookies. It's easier than packing your gym bag before you leave for work in the morning and putting it in your car so you don't have to go home. Or having it right by the door, so you have to go home and let the dogs out and then bring them back in and grab your gym bag and get back out the door. It's way easier than that, okay? Making the choices to live a healthy lifestyle of getting out for a run instead of sitting on the couch, going to the gym instead of going out to the club, choosing a healthy diet instead of eating whatever's in front of you. Those are hard decisions to make in the moment. But you know what's harder than that? Not making those little hard choices and then later in life having to deal with coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Those are all things that are results of not making small hard decisions day in and day out. See, the small hard decisions seem insurmountable at the time unless you put them side by side with the monumental difficulty of having to deal with life-altering, life-threatening illness and having to do things like surgery or be on constant medication because of lifestyle choices you made. That's way harder. So in the moment, it is hard to say, I'm going to get off the couch and go to the gym. It is hard to say, I'm not going to have that donut and walk away. I get it. It's hard, okay? I get to say that from both a professional perspective and a personal perspective. I am a fitness professional. It's what I do. But I personally have had that struggle. I personally have gained and lost 70 pounds. I personally walk by a box of donuts and sometimes struggle not to reach in and grab probably 2 or 3. I understand what it means to struggle with those choices. But I have chosen the short-term tiny hard over the long-term life-threatening hard. Now, how does that apply to our real life? Well, let's just apply those examples into anything else that you're struggling with, okay? It is way easier to get frustrated with somebody or frustrated with a relationship and just blow it off or stuff it down. It's way easier because if you just stuff it or you blow it off and say, oh, it doesn't matter, but it does matter, but you say it doesn't matter, it's way easier to blow it off than to have the courage to step up and have a hard conversation with your wife or your husband or your teenage child. It is really, really difficult in that moment to have that conversation. but blowing it off or stuffing it down. What are the results of that? What ends up happening is that it festers and it eats away at you as a human being, and then it causes other issues in the relationship. Not having a hard conversation with your husband or your wife later down the road manifests itself into a knockdown, drag-out fight that ends up in a separation or a divorce. Not having a hard conversation with your teenager because you're afraid to look like a bad guy. You're afraid to look like a hypocrite. Well, I just busted them with pot, but I smoked pot, so do I have a right to tell them not to smoke pot since I did it? Yes, you do. That's not being a hypocrite. That's being wise. When you're parenting your child, you get to say, hey, I made this mistake. It was stupid. You should not do it. That's not hypocritical. That's wisdom. And I'm not just picking on weed. Don't take this out of context. Don't let that steal from the message here, okay? It could be anything, right? If you have a standard by which you want your teenagers to live, you better have the courage to enforce it. If you have a standard by which you want your marriage to measure, then you better have the courage to have the conversations that need to happen to keep that relationship healthy in the long term. In the moment, that might be the most difficult conversation you have ever had in your life. But whatever the relationship is, your marriage, your children, your parents, your friends, your boss, whatever it is worth the 10, 20, even a 60-minute hard conversation with that person than letting that issue fester and end up destroying that relationship later down the line. That's way harder to deal with. So my urgency for you is to choose the small hard now to avoid the big hard later, okay? Right now, it seems easier to just blow that, whatever it is, off. Just blow it off. Like, it doesn't matter. Here's the problem. It does matter. And if you don't have the courage to confront whatever that is, a health choice, a relationship choice, a mental health choice, whatever, a future, like planning your future, if you don't make the hard decision now, you will have a hard situation to deal with down the road that is 10 times worse. Make the hard choices now. Now, what does that have to do with 75 hard? That's where I'm learning this. See, I'm having to make decisions now much more rapidly because I have a list of things that I have committed to do with 75 hard that if I don't get them done, the consequence is I'm going to have to restart, and I don't want to do that. That'll piss me off because I don't like to lose. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make sure that I hit all the markers for every single thing on the list so that I don't fail. So I don't have to deal with the long-term art of having to start over and start over and start over. So that means that during my day, I have to make short-term hard choices about how I'm going to spend my time so that I can get everything that I need done in my day. And you know what's happened even in just 7 days? Of being conscious about the choices I make and the conversations I have and the things I choose to tackle, to nip in the bud, whatever you want to call it. I have, in just 7 days, become a much more efficient human being. It's worth it, folks. The short-term hard is worth it. It's always worth it. The truth bomb is hard is easy and easy is hard. Or better to say, the hard now is worth it for the easy later. That's the truth bomb, folks. Go blow up life. Boom.